Welcome to the Total Soccer Show and our review of the Champions League phase, the phasing, match day 3, in which Liverpool returned to winning ways while Bayern Leverkusen had seen better days. Arsenal took apart the side coached by Diego Simeone, while Napoli were utter baloney. Bayern Munich still look frightening and Real Madrid's continental form is enlightening. Chelsea delivered 5 fatal blows and Newcastle's win saw an assist from a throw. My name's Ryan Bailey. Joining me today, it's your friend, it's my friend, it's Continental Taylor Rockwell. Hello, Taylor.
Hello, Ryan Bailey. I don't know why I made that my continental voice. Lovely to speak to you. I loved your introduction. I did get lost for a moment trying to decide if the Phasing Day 3 is a horror franchise or a Fast and the Furious franchise. It's one or the other, and then also somehow the Champions League.
Why not both? Why not all three? That's what
Okay, all those stuff.
You know. Things are all getting amalgamated into one another these days, Taylor, so let's all just have one big homogenous Fast and Furious Champions League horror movie. That's what I say. There we go.
Someone just greenlit that somewhere.
Excellent. We've done it again. Joe Lowry, hello, how are you?
I'm great, Ryan. I truly love the introductions that you do for these kinds of shows. I don't know if you feel comfortable peeling back the curtain. How long did it take you to write that? It would take me hours.
Would it be arrogant to say less than 5 minutes?
Not at all. That is very, very impressive. to know like enough of what happened in the games to have key moments to rhyme about and to be able to rhyme that quickly. I'm just so impressed. I loved it.
Thank you, Joe. I'm very proud of Baloney and Simeone.
You should. Week. That was that was the best bit. You read about that.
Now you did have ghostwriting assistance from your 2 rhyme butlers, correct?
You don't have rhyme butlers?
Sir, that's a near rhyme, not an accurate rhyme. That won't do.
I use my yeah. All right. Hello, Graham Ruffin. How are you?
I'm very well, Ryan Bailey. Looking forward to talking about all 71 goals that were scored in the Champions League this week, which was a record in the new format for a single match week. I presume you've got detailed notes on all of them. I know you couldn't quite fit them into your introductory rhyme, but I presume that detail is coming in this episode.
My first draft was actually a ranking of all 43 goals from Tuesday night, but I sort of scrapped that because I got to about 27 and
sure
gave up.
Keep that for the Patreon.
There were some really good goals, though. We're going to obviously get to that in this episode.
There better be if there were 71. Some of them better be good.
No, weirdly, Graham, there were 71. They were all just kind of mediocre. Like, they were all just,
Yeah, like a dirt court hat trick.
Yeah.
Do people have a favorite one, like that jumps out right away?
Yeah. It's the Dortmund Metro one is the one for me where he hits it at 500 miles an hour and it comes out of the net because he hit it so hard. That's for me. And it's in the middle of the goal. Like, the goalkeeper still has no chance. Brilliant.
I enjoyed the Nick Pope bowl out because I don't think I've ever seen a goal like that before, but we might talk about that a little bit later
Taylor,
on.
I liked the Ricardo Pepi tap-in for me. I thought that was just spectacular.
That's what did it? That was the standout number 1?
So good. So good. His assist was even better. I mean, that quality. We'll talk about it later.
Let's do it. Alex Garcia for me. The top bins, top corner, the hit, the smash, the placement, all beautiful.
Excellent. We'll get to all that in this episode. Before we get there, patreon.com/Total Soccer Show is the best way to support us. You'll get bonus episodes, bonus video, and access to our Discord server. All the cool kids hanging out in there. Patreon.com/Total Soccer Show. Thank you to everybody who supports us via that medium. Before we get to our first game we're going to discuss, Taylor, would you like to know, or would you like to have a guess at who Opta have as the favourites for the Champions League right now?
Ooh.
Right now? I mean,
Kairat.
I would assume PSG or Bayern, but the nature of this question tells me that it's somebody else.
If you assume, Taylor, it makes an ass out of you and me. Remember that, because you're wrong.
All right. Thank you for that.
Joe, would you like a guess?
Wait to host trivia later on and make it unfairly difficult for you. It's gonna be
Arsenal. Arsenal are my guess, Ryan.
Just correct. Arsenal are the top with 21% a chance, according to Opta. Graham, if you're interested, PSG a second with 14%. Man City
Almost
third with 12%. Bayern fourth with 9% chance, according to the Opta beep boop bloop bloop. There you are.
And what does the Opta beep boop bloop bloop say about Karabakh? How far down that list are they? They were 1-0 up in their game.
They're in the bless your heart category.
They were riding high until Athletic Club served them a reality check in the second half of that game.
Indeed. They had a wonderful, what was it, nearly 40 minutes when they were ahead there? Congrats to them. Yeah, we'll get to them later. They are not our first game we're going to talk about, though. We're going to go to Tuesday's action. Why don't we start off with the favourites, according to Beep Beep Bloop Bloop. Arsenal 4, Atletico Madrid 0. Teams from Madrid seem to hate coming to the Emirates in this competition. The Gabriels both scoring in this one, and Gyökeres with a brace as well. 4 goals in 14 minutes in the second half. The floodgates truly opening for a 15-minute period of this game, shall we say. And Gyökeres ending a 7-game drought in this one as well. Joe, Arsenal have won their opening 3 games of this competition. They've still yet to concede a goal. That might be why the old computer is putting them quite high in this contest.
Well, and I can understand after this game and after Taylor had delightfully cleared the way for me with other teams that I was thinking about guessing, why Arsenal might be on top of those rankings. Arsenal were excellent in this game. They were very, very good, especially towards the second half. The first half, I thought they were still very much in control, but they didn't create a ton of really clear-cut chances in the first 45 minutes. All 4 of the goals come in the second half, but let's be very clear. From the opening whistle, Arsenal were the better team in this game. They started so well, winning the ball in the high press. As they nearly scores in the immediate aftermath of a high-pressing moment, where it ends up as a deflected shot that goes off of Jan Oblak's net. It was a weird moment, but it was indicative of how good Arsenal were in the press in this game, basically the entire match. The big thing, I know this isn't like some refined intellectual take, the big thing that stood out to me in this game between 2 teams that are relative giants in their respective leagues. I don't think anybody is under the impression that Atletico are better than Arsenal at this stage. But really, 2 teams that are big teams that are in Atleti's case, very much known for being physical. Arsenal were physically dominant in this game. The entire game. They owned the physical side of the game. They owned the technical side too. They were better in everything. But Arsenal, to me, just looked bigger and scarier than Atleti, to the point where I was thinking back to the Club World Cup this summer, and I was thinking about not how Arsenal did in that tournament, for obvious reasons, but I was thinking about when we would watch the MLS teams take on the European teams, and the game that stood out to me there is Chelsea LAFC. What stood out to me in that game between Chelsea and LAFC was not that Chelsea were superior technically, though they were by a margin. It was that all of their players were bigger, faster, stronger than LAFC's players, which again I know is like not the thing you expect when you watch a team from a higher level play a team from a lower level. But that absolutely popped, and you saw it over and over and over again in this game. We saw it on the set pieces, yes. We also see it in the run of play, where Miles Lewis-Skelly on the second goal, the Martinelli goal of the Gabriel variety, he just glides past everybody in central midfield. He's just quicker, faster, stronger than all of those players. He plays it over and threads it to Martinelli, and Martinelli finishes. It was like watching that happen 100 times in every phase of the game. I came away so impressed with Arsenal, worried about Atleti, and very much being reminded that the top tier in England has that edge at the moment, at least relative to almost every team in the world.
Yeah, definitely. Taylor, it does seem, as Joe's outlined there, that Arsenal have become Atleti in many ways, and this was a pretty good showcase of that in terms of physicality, in terms of sort of the game management and bullying the other side.
Set pieces.
And set pieces.
With the exception that, like, I never go into an Atleti game thinking they're going to play fun, exciting soccer unless you are a troll and unless you enjoy that sort of gamesmanship and the dark arts a little bit. Then I think you will get some enthusiasm out of Atleti games, generally speaking, but particularly in the Champions League. By contrast, I thought Arsenal were physically imposing, were strong, were up for this one, and I think had very much been briefed on not getting knocked over, not getting sort of physically outmatched, but I thought also still played some really technically lovely football. There was a lot of like really incisive passing, some smart dribbles, some good kind of interplay, some quick interplay at that, like near balls in behind, long balls in behind. I feel like they varied their attack. They pressed well, as Joe already said. It was just a comprehensively strong performance from Arsenal in a strange game. It reminds me of the Liverpool 7, Manchester United 0 game, right? Where it was like, was it 1-0 at halftime or 0-0 at halftime?
Something like that.
And then second half was a little bit different. It's strange that Arsenal, I felt like, were, agreeing with Joe, the more dominant team from the outset, and yet it takes till the second half for them to really break down Atleti. But I think that's a sign of how good Atleti are when they want to do the 2 banks of 4 and just frustrate your life, but also how strong this Arsenal team have become, especially with Saka looking at his full best in this game.
Yeah, I think the most impressive thing in a macro sense about Arsenal, in a micro sense, Saka was excellent, and maybe I'll come on to him a little bit later. But I think the most impressive thing about Arsenal right now is they just have so many different options across the field, right? So recently they've been using this box midfield, and Calafiore has been playing at left back because he's maybe a bit more of a natural width provider than Lewis-Skelly. But here, Lewis-Skelly, the Pirate, comes back into the team. We haven't really seen much of him this season. and he's driving centrally like he did for the Gabriel Martinelli goal to make it 2-0. And then Arsenal have these like wide players to peel off, so they can bring in Martinelli to get that little bit of separation. And I think playing him with MLS gives him a better chance of that separation. He's a little bit like Christian Pulisic in that sense, I think, Gabriel Martinelli, where you don't want him having like loads of touches of the ball. You do want him having a little bit of separation from the fullback and from players around him, and you want him making quick decisions in the final third. And in this game, he did that. And I've been pretty critical of Gabriel Martinelli, and I think he struggled for about a year in this Arsenal team. But it feels like now that Arsenal have other options and he's not expected to be the everything player for them on the left side, they've got Eze, who's a better dribbler than Martinelli. They've got Leandro Trossard, who's like good at making like late arriving runs into the box. And now they've got Martinelli, who's a little bit more of like a transition player. It just feels like he's got more freedom for those good qualities to come to the fore, as they did here.
Yeah, you mentioned MLS, Miles Lewis-Skelly there. Joe putting in our show notes, he would give Graham's left elbow and Ryan's right knee for MLS to be American. But of course, Joe, as we know, sadly, he belongs to the high seas, international waters. So he belongs to nobody.
Yeah, Pirate FC. I don't know where we land on that. He is so good, man. He is so incredibly good, and it blows my mind that these big teams, will talk about another promising youngster later, they just pull these guys out of nowhere, and they look amazing so quickly. Miles Lewis-Skelly is, for my money, like the most fun left back in the world. I'm not saying he's the best one. He's not the best one. There are other better ones. But his ability to flex inside makes Arsenal, to Graham's point, so difficult to deal with because they can do so many different things. And we saw that over and over again in this game. It's not just MLS on the left. It's Jurrien Timber on the right, where early on in this game, he's sort of hanging back in midfield. And you ended up with, for Arsenal, what looked to me, for a lot of this match, like a 2-3-5 in possession. So not the three in the back, but just the two center backs making up that back two. And then you had Zubimendi as the lone number 6. And you had Miles Lewis-Skelly to the left of him and Timber to the right of him. They weren't like tucked inside within 5 yards, but they were in that line. And then you had the attacking players making up that front 5. And Timber on the right side was so willing to distribute from deeper areas. He's so good at doing that stuff. And he and Saka were a nightmare to deal with in a very real way, like Martinelli and MLS were on the other side, although they do it differently. So I think it was so impressive to see how Saka, in particular, on that right side, could draw not just one, but 2 players to him. And that would create then space for Timber to range forward out of that structure a little bit, because he saw the open space and has the freedom to do that. And all of a sudden, Atleti just had no answer for how to deal with that stuff. And then when you think, okay, we finally solved it on one side, then Arsenal moved the ball to the other side, and they're almost as dangerous attacking down that other side. And then you finally win the ball, or you commit a foul, and then it's a set piece, and then you've conceded again. I mean, it's just like you can't win. Atleti could not win in this game.
Yeah, it was a little bit of like the mythical Hydra situation, in which just as soon as like Atleti thought they cut the head off of one Arsenal game plan, 2 more emerged. Because yeah, Joe, like you've nailed it with the right side, left side changes, but then just also if you are kind of sending out 2 to handle Saka, but now you've got a late arriving run from Timber, now one of them is going to peel off to deal with him, or they're going to try to clog that space a little bit more, and now it's going to open up more opportunities for the 1v1. But I thought Saka also did a really good job of dropping a little bit deeper to pull the defender with him to then make the run in behind, or to make up or open up the space for others to make that run. And I think critical in that kind of improvisation and creativity was Eberechi Eze, who I'm still learning to say the English way of saying that name because I still don't fully know how to say it properly. But either way, I thought he was exceptional. And I think we talked about him a lot when Arsenal make that transfer as being the kind of Martinelli replacement. And he's going to be out on the left, and he's going to give them so much more attacking creativity out there. But with the injury to Martin Odegaard, I hadn't really thought about how he would move centrally and how good he would be when he did. Because there are multiple times in this game when he single-handedly kind of plays Arsenal out of pressure. He evades a tackle that kind of opens up Atleti, or he just drives at that Atleti defense and makes them collapse, makes 2 or 3 defenders commit to him, and that opens up space for 1 or 2 other Arsenal teammates. And so I thought every player for Arsenal seemed to understand the game plan, both from the physicality side, but also when they do this, we do this. And then when they do this in response to that, then we do this. And it worked pretty well, because here we are talking about a 4-0 win against a team that do not often give up 4 goals, and certainly don't do so in a 4-0 capacity.
Yeah, definitely. And Graham, we should shine a little bit more light on Gyökeres as well, getting the 3rd and 4th goals in this game as well. Undoubtedly his best game in an Arsenal shirt at this point. Where does he rank on the big man number 9s who've come to the Premier League this season? The Seskos, the Walter Mardes. Is he top of that list?
To be honest, I'm not quite sure how to make a full judgment on Gyökeres compared to those other guys. I mean, nobody comes close to Voltemade in my heart, of course, and that's the ranking that matters most of all. But
the back of Voltemade's heel is untouchable right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love watching him so much. But Gyökeres, yes, you're absolutely right. This is probably his best game so far. Scored a couple of goals, both of them really quite scruffy goals. The first one in particular, he looks quite sheepish to actually celebrate. But nonetheless, that's what Arsenal partly signed him to be, right? Was to be that kind of Messi penalty box, not Lionel Messi, the other kind of Messi penalty box presence that they didn't have before to finish off those chances, particularly the second one, which is just like a classic poacher's goal at the back post where I think he kind of like chests it over the line. But I actually think the biggest part of his game that's most underappreciated is his pressing, and we saw that in abundance in this match. That's kind of where I thought he was the most effective. So he's actually leading the Premier League for high pressures in the opposition box this season and in the final third in general. And in this game, he was at like 100 miles an hour when closing Atleti down, playing out from the back, and that just added to this sense that Arsenal were right on top of them for the whole game, right? And even if Gyökeres didn't win it, then Zubimendi would win it, or Timber would win it, or Saka would win it when they're like nipping into when Atleti would invariably like flip the ball into the centre of the pitch. So just across the field for Arsenal, it felt like a really coherent performance, and they are, for me anyway, out of the English teams, maybe Liverpool have like just more attacking talent and will score more goals, and that's how they stay top. But as a complete team, I think Arsenal are the most complete English team at this moment in time.
There we go. Big win for Set Piece FC on the continent. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at Liverpool getting back to winning ways in Germany. Join us then. Total Soccer Show, welcome back to our Champions League roundup of match day 3. We go to Wednesday's match between Eintracht Frankfurt and Liverpool. Liverpool getting the 5-1 win here, but a bit nervous at the start. They went behind after 26 minutes, did Liverpool. Defence letting them down a little bit in that moment. They conceded the first goal for the 5th game in a row, did Liverpool here. Yikes. But then, of course, Hugo Ekitike comes in and scores against his former club to level it up. Great through ball. Was it Robertson with the through ball? That was a very nice assist from the edge of the box from Robertson there as well. Virgil van Dijk and Konaté adding further goals before half-time. Then Cody Gakpo and Dominic Szoboszlai getting the 4th and the 5th. Florian Wirtz getting on the assist board as well for Gakpo's goal, wasn't it? So a pretty emphatic way for Liverpool to turn around their losing streak.
Yeah, a result and a performance that Liverpool clearly needed. And as you kind of outlined, Ryan, they didn't have it all their own way. In fact, I thought Frankfurt obviously take the lead in this game, but just generally started pretty strongly. And in fact, that equalising goal that you highlight from Ekitike, where Robertson plays that ball through from deep, comes from like a really good opening for Frankfurt, where they have a lot of players forward, probably too many players forward, seeing what happened afterwards. But nonetheless, it felt like at 1-0, it did kind of feel like something could snap again for Liverpool in this game, but the response was really, really impressive. And I think the most notable thing from this game was the team selection, both individually with Mohamed Salah being benched for this game. And I think benched is the word. They might, Slot maybe in a future press conference might lean into the kind of the rotation angle there, but I think that was purely Mohamed Salah hasn't been playing well recently. We've got other options. Let's put him on the bench for a game. And obviously Andy Robertson coming into the team as well. But just the system that Liverpool used as well. So you had Frimpong keeping the width high on the right side. Then it was Gakpo doing the same on the left. Then you had Isak centrally and one other next to him. So it was Ekitike a lot of the time, as you would expect. But then some other times it was Wirtz, who was really advanced in moments. He had freedom to drift as well. So there's moments when he was getting deep into the midfield as well. And then you had Jones and Szoboszlai in central midfield. I thought they were maybe a little bit naive at moments with their willingness to jump high, which we saw for the Frankfurt goal when the Liverpool midfield is like wide open, and that has been a theme of their performances so far this season. So that's maybe one negative for them. But I liked how this approach spread the pitch on both sides for Liverpool, which then created space centrally and like pulled defenders away from Isak and Ekitike. And then I thought Wirtz, who personally, I think his struggles have been slightly overblown. Like I thought off the bench against Manchester United, he was pretty good, and I think there's a number of statistical metrics where you can look at his chance creation, and he's like right up there in the Premier League this season. So I think that's maybe due to other teammates not finishing chances that he's creating, but nonetheless, I thought this was like the first big Florian Wirtz match we've seen for him in a Liverpool shirt. And so, yeah, it was much needed for Liverpool, who have finally snapped that losing run.
Yeah, Graham, I have in the 10th minute, it's the moment when Isak gets the shot from a tight angle and it goes out for a corner. But it starts with Wirtz basically controlling really well in the box and sort of doing the right foot, left foot to get right around a defender who's trying to press him from Frankfurt, and then he's able to kind of launch the counter from there. That was the first moment of me thinking, like, oh, there he is. There's the Florian Wirtz we've seen for a couple seasons, who's exceptionally good in tight spaces and can then navigate wide open spaces, as he did, I think, pretty often in this game. I think it is like massively to Liverpool's credit and Arne Slot's credit that they make some of the changes they do with this lineup, that they get the result they do. But I think it also shows, strangely, how strong they are, that it takes that goal for Liverpool to concede. Because I hear you that they were open, Graham. At the same time, that Frankfurt goal is one of the prettiest goals of the day as well. The way they pass out of the press, and it is a relentless press that they almost get caught on a number of times. It is just how good Frankfurt are in that moment. I'm not sure there's much you can do. I think if you're Arne Slot, you probably are frustrated by certain individual moments. But overall, I think you look at that goal and you think, like, all right, if you're going to score against us, that's
it's fine. A great goal.
But then you can see the kind of ruthless efficiency with which Liverpool can attack in the Ekitike goal. That is just anytime you go across that last defender when they're trying to catch up to you and just completely cut them out of the play, it's always a lovely moment. But then the set pieces and just the ruthlessness from Liverpool, I thought this was very much a statement reminder game of, yeah, we've had a little bit of a bad run of form. We can still punish you early and often.
That Rasmus Christensen shot has a 0.04 XG value to it, which I think leads to your point, Taylor. It's a lovely goal from start to finish in that sequence, and the finish is an extremely, extremely difficult one. On the Liverpool note, I was also taken by the Ekitike goal because, and I've said this on the show before, every time I watch this dude play, he is amazing. And I want to be very upfront. I have seen less of Liverpool probably than anybody on this show. So I want to ask the question that sort of Ryan asked you in the last segment, Graham, and maybe this will make it easier. Is Ekitike the best of the bunch? Like, we talked so much this summer about all the nines moving. That includes Isak. We talked about Šeško, Voltemada, Gyökeres, and Ekitike. They're probably the five that are in that top tier. Is Ekitike that guy, or am I just catching all the good moments?
On the basis of this season, Ekitike and Voltemada have been the two most impressive, and just technically Ekitike is on another level to Voltemada.
Unbelievable.
As much as I like Voltemada, he is a little bit awkward, where Ekitike at times looks like, I don't know, who does he look like? Thierry Henry in 2025 or something? Like, it's that kind of comparison, and it just makes the Isak signing, who, look, Isak is incredible, but trying to fit the two of them into this one team, particularly if it takes dropping Mohamed Salah, as happened in this match, it just feels like the equation's a little bit awkward, and I don't know whether just building around Ekitike might have been the smarter move.
Yeah, and Slot, it doesn't seem like he has all the answers right now, right? I mean, it doesn't help that Frimpong is down injured again, and he comes off early on in this game, and that shifts the attacking structure, Graham, that you detailed really well. That changes what they have to do, and it ends up pulling Wirtz a little bit wider on the right side sometimes. It all worked out fine. I mean, Liverpool were dominant in this game. Even in the opening 20 minutes, Graham, I agree. Frankfurt were good, but that good meant that they weren't like hemorrhaging chances at the back, and they could throw a punch. Basically, they couldn't do that for the rest of the game, and even when they were, it wasn't like they were dominant by any means, which I know is not what you're saying. But man, even without a full idea of how exactly to play this game and exactly what the best 11 is for this team at the moment, or how to manage those minutes, I think Slot is still working around all those things. It didn't really matter for this game. And my apologies to whoever was doing the CBS broadcast for this game, because I don't know who it was. But they raised the point, the play-by-play guy raised the point, this game felt very much like feeder club versus buying club, which is what it is in the case of Ekitike. That's what this felt like. However physically lopsided, however technically lopsided that Arsenal Atleti game was, this was that and more. I mean, I don't think you have to look any further than the set-piece stuff. That is a common thread from the last game we talked about, where a giant of the English game was out here pummeling another team. It's the exact same thing, where Gakpo has a corner kick, it's headed home by Van Dijk, and then Szoboszlai has a corner kick headed home by Konate. I mean, it's just like, it looks so easy for these guys. It looks so easy, and ultimately Frankfurt just did not have answers, whether it was open play or whether it was on dead balls.
Joe, I can't stand this slander for a moment. Are you telling me that Knauf's like half jersey pull as the player ran by him to score a wide open header wasn't enough for you? What more do you want, Joe?
Is that for the Konate one?
For both.
Yeah, for both. But the second one is particularly bad, where I don't even think Konate jumps. He just runs onto the cross 8 yards out. It's hilarious defending from Frankfurt.
It's so bad, and I know we're done with the Arsenal game, but the Gabriel center back edition goal in that game off the set piece, Nico Gonzalez isn't doing anything. Like, I mean, I honestly don't know how you come into a game like this against these kinds of center backs and these kinds of teams that you know are obsessed with set pieces because there's value to be gained there, and these teams know that and execute it well. I don't know how you're not like doing everything you possibly can to say, hey, we're not favored in this game. We have to make sure that we don't lose this game on dead balls. And we talked about 2 games today, and both of the teams that lost those games on dead balls. Like, that is mind-boggling to me. Absolutely insane.
I can't explain Atleti, but I don't think Frankfurt are very interested in defending given their results this season. I found out that Dino Topmoller, their manager, of course, is named after Dino Zoff, the legendary goalkeeper, which is ironic given that Frankfurt can't stop conceding goals this season.
Wow. Yeah. We need to top those Frankfurt goals in their games because it is quite insane this season, as you say, Graham. Mo Salah, he's going to be an interesting one going forward, how they handle him in the starting 11, in or out. Graham, do we think that this game is going to be galvanising for Liverpool? Do we think that this could be a turning point for them, or was it just they've met an opponent who was a bit weaker on the night?
I honestly don't know, and we'll need a little bit more evidence at the weekend. I don't have it in front of me. Who Liverpool have this weekend?
They're at Brentford.
They're at Brentford. Oh, good. So I noticed after this game, Slot was complaining about the approach of the Premier League teams that they have faced recently and how they weren't able to press the ball in those games because the ball wasn't on the ground, it was in the air. Good luck against Brentford, who will be lobbing it in from the sidelines for the full 90 minutes. But honestly, I don't know. Like, it was a reminder of the attacking quality that Liverpool have, and that can still get them over the line in games, and they will still demolish teams this season. And so I'm not for a moment writing them off. To Joe's point about Slot having to figure things out, I think the Salah situation is really interesting because obviously he's the highest paid player at the club, the most legendary player of that in that club's history in like the last 30 years, and I don't for a minute think that just overnight Salah's lost his ability. It's not just like shooting ability, he's just looked off in terms of his first touch, and everything's looked off from Mohamed Salah this season. And I have to note how he seemed to be one of the Liverpool players who was closest to Diogo Jota, and we saw how emotional he was in the first game of the season. So I don't know if maybe that's a factor, and so I'm trying to account for that. But yeah, right now it feels like Liverpool's strongest 11 might not include Mohamed Salah. The concern for Liverpool is that Isak picks up an injury in this game, so Slot might not have a choice but to start him at the weekend.
And not having a choice but to start Mo Salah at the weekend. What a tough break for Liverpool. Rough one indeed. There we go. Liverpool with a big win in Germany. Let's take a quick break. We'll go around all the other games, and there's a lot of them and a lot of goals to discuss. Join us then. Total Soccer Show, welcome back to our Champions League roundup. Why don't we go, we'll stay in Germany. Bayer Leverkusen 2, Paris Saint-Germain 7. A pretty wild night at Leverkusen here. PSG were 4-1 up at the break, and there seemed to be a lot of goals around that sort of halfway point of this game as well. The attacking prowess very much on show from PSG. Vitinha, by the way, for the 7th goal, his celebration just twirling his hairband around his finger like he was like a Harlem Globetrotter spinning the ball. It felt very 7th goal of the night, that celebration, I thought. But PSG, the defending champs, Graham, pretty rampant here.
They're absolutely terrifying, particularly now that their best players are back from injury, and they were pretty terrifying even when those players were out. They went away to Barcelona and beat them with their academy kids. So right now, I know Opta are saying Arsenal are the favourites, and I understand why. I think PSG are going to take some beating, particularly on this basis. And the thing that is just most terrifying about PSG, and maybe this will sound a bit silly, is that they score goals when they want. Like they just have so many different ways to score goals, where it's like they can score goals through possession sequences, or like Nuno Mendes just running right through the middle of them. And there's times where it's almost like they get bored and they think, I'll just stick this in the top corner, which is what Vitinha does. Like, they've got long range shooters as well. So yeah, they are very scary right now.
Can I drop a stat on PSG? PSG have played 3 Champions League games so far. They've scored inside the first 7 minutes in 2 of those games. Both of those goals have been scored by a center back. It is absurd, Graham, to illustrate your point even further. They score goals. They score lots of goals. They score them how they want. They give them to everybody. Very, very equitable, this PSG team, and also very, 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 very scary.
Yeah, They are indeed. 7 goals for PSG on the road. That's pretty good going. 6 goals for Barcelona at home. Not Camp Nou home. 6-1 over Olympiacos for Barcelona. Fermin Lopez with the hat-trick. Marcus Rashford with the brace. The 6th goal, the sort of touch and shot that Rashford had, I thought was lovely as well. In the top ranking of all the 71 goals from this round, definitely. And Lamine Yamal getting a goal from the spot as well for Barcelona. So a nice big win for them. I think the only goalless game of Tuesday was Kairat against Paphos, 0-0. Kairat just that first Champions League win eluding them despite playing against a 10-man Paphos for the majority of this game. Graham, you were the sicko who actually watched this one. Is that right?
Yeah, that was one of the early games. So if it's an early game on the Tuesday, I'm going to end up watching it. So this was on a screen. It wasn't as bad a game as the 0-0 suggests. If you look at the chances, quite a good number of them. So relatively entertaining for a 0-0, but certainly an outlier in this 71-goal game week that we had.
Did anybody stand out, Graham? Were there any players that you found yourself enjoying watching for whatever reason?
Why does this feel like a trap?
This feels like a David Luiz
Is this
trap.
David Luiz chat?
It wasn't. No, it's just I genuinely couldn't tell when you were like, it wasn't as bad of a game as it. Like, that sounded sincere, but also like maybe you were trying to make an argument.
No.
And I was wondering if there was any player that maybe backed up that it was a good game.
No, I was very casually watching it. There was another game on that was better at the same time. What game was on at the same time that I would have been watching? But every time I looked up, there seemed to be a chance, and the commentators seemed to be suggesting
Sounds
that
like
there'd be
it
a lot
was
of chances.
a riveting game then.
Buy the DVD.
Taylor, if you'd like to make it wasn't bad as it seems argument, we can talk about Real Madrid Juventus if you'd like. What would you like to go into that? Or 1-0 to Real Madrid. Our Lord and Saviour, Jude Bellingham, getting the match winner. The lovely tap in from the deflection off the post. They all count,
Nice,
Graham,
Graham.
and it was his first of the season. He's back to Jude Bellingham ways. Juve, Taylor, did have a lot of chances though in this game.
Man. It's the Mitchell and Webb joke about like the Titans of Ipswich playing host to the Giants of whoever, making them both seem normal sized. This was 2 Titans of the Champions League playing each other and thus looking like 2 somewhat average teams at times. And it wasn't the most gripping back and forth game until it was. And that's the thing, is there were moments when it did open up and Real Madrid would have an attack and then Juve would go the other way and then they would get a shot off and then Madrid would counter that shot and it did open up at times. There were kind of chaotic and fun moments, but I think when you are looking at a Real Madrid team that have been so comprehensively strong for so long in the Champions League in particular, and a Juve team that, if nothing else, can defend and frustrate, it felt like neither team really did what they do best in this game, and I think that has been the case for both of them domestically so far in this campaign. So the one bright spot I would point to in my viewing experience was that I really liked a lot of what I saw from Weston McKennie, who continues to look very fit, very up for challenges, but covers a ton of ground. Is a like positive energy, positive vibes guy. You could see him picking up teammates. At one point, there's a chance that I think Vlahovic misses, and 2 different teammates come over and just put their heads on McKennie's shoulder while he's standing there watching the replay. And just moments like that, I can tell that he is a guy that his teammates enjoy, but he's also playing centrally at times. He's playing out wide at times. I think in the end, when Juve are trying to make something happen, he is almost a second striker, if not just an out-and-out striker. So you see his versatility on display, but I thought he was notable to me in a positive way. It wasn't even he didn't stand out in a bad way. It was more so he was heavily involved, and I didn't see any obvious or too obvious of mistakes from him. Instead, I saw him facilitating play and doing a lot of different things for a Juve team that still weren't particularly impressive on the night. Had their chances, did not take them. I don't know why Dusan Vlahovic refuses to make runs to the back post, but I guess that's his brand. But there were 2 different goals there for the tap-in.
Good.
Yeah, it might
Sorry,
be.
who said that?
That might be it.
Graham, Taylor was talking, dude. I mean,
A while ago, a few
was
months
one of them
ago, we
rhyming
went to
butlers.
war on that comment, but I've cashed out my stock.
isn't it freeing? It's so freeing, Graham.
Yeah.
You do like going to making controversy in the Eastern Bloc yourself, Graham. So maybe you should stay out of that
Got
fight.
history of that.
One of the moments I'm talking about was when Kenan Yıldız, who's wearing the captain's armband, is that surprising to anybody that he is the captain of Juve? Like, isn't he still 20? He's very young, no?
He is, yeah.
I guess
Good enough,
youngsters
old
can
enough,
be leaders. Who
wise
knew?
enough,
Who knew?
captain enough.
But there's a moment when he drives to the end line and he has like a cutback. It's a really good play. It's a really good individual effort, and it's a really good ball. But Vlahovic is waiting at the penalty spot for that ball instead of making the run to the back post, which is understandable. But he gets really, really mad, and I think it's the second time that he like kicks the post in frustration at the end. So he did end up getting to the back post, just not in time. And you can see the frustration, and then it cuts to Yildiz as he kind of turns to jog back. And it's just like one eyebrow raised. And in that moment, I was like, oh, he made Vlahovic really mad. Oh, he doesn't care that he made Vlahovic really, really mad. I see how things stand in the pecking order of this team. So at least there was that learned for Juve, if not a 3-point result.
Who else would be Juve captain? Would it be Vlahovic? I mean, what, Locatelli didn't start? Who would?
Weston.
I mean, I was going to say.
No?
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm trying to think. Like, they've got some center backs in there, right, who could probably do the job. Gatti feels like a captain. Rugani. Lloyd Kelly, the legend himself. Yep. How are we leaving Lloyd Kelly out of this conversation?
England's finest.
The crafty Baron. Yeah,
indeed. Well, that was a good game for one Bellingham. There was another Bellingham who had another good game this week. Borussia Dortmund with the 4-2 win at Copenhagen. Job Bellingham getting a couple of assists in that one. As noted, my favourite goal of the week came in that one. Felix Neubauer, he got 2 goals in this one, but it was his first one that was... I just love a goal that's hit really, really, really hard. And he had a lovely touch to set himself up and then just absolutely hit it so hard. The net must have had so much tension on it that the ball bounced straight out, as if like blink and you miss it, you wouldn't even know it went in. And it went in the middle of the goal as well. Very, very aesthetically pleasing goal from Mecha in that one. Dortmund have scored 11 goals in their 3 Champions League games this season. It's quite a lot, just saying. But we like goals.
Champions League Dortmund, you can't deny them. It's a real thing at this point.
It is indeed. As is Newcastle's 3-0 win over Jose Mourinho's Benfica. Jose returning to St James's Park didn't go to plan for him. Did go to plan for Anthony Gordon and Harvey Barnes.
We don't know.
40 chests. Okay,
possibly even 5.
One of Harvey Barnes' goals, as noted, was assisted by Nick Pope. Not doing like the Schmeichel handball style throw, but bowling it like a cricket ball. If he actually did a proper handball style throw, I think he could throw it the length of 2 fields, judging by how well he could bowl it, Graham.
I don't think I've ever seen a goalkeeper, number one, throw a ball that far in that manner and then also assist a goal with their hands like that before. As you say, Ryan, it's like a big bowl rather than a conventional goalkeeper's throw. So I love that goal. And there was a lot to like about this performance by Newcastle, which in the end rounded into a bit of a rampant performance by them. Benfica were competitive for a large part of the match. Luca Bacchio was particularly threatening. He has a shot off the outside of the post in the first half.
Not the best Bacchio.
Thank you. But just before the second goal, it felt like maybe they were building some pressure, Benfica, and then the second goal pops the balloon. And the thing that stood out, I'm really loving the press of the English teams this week, apparently, but it was the press from Newcastle was really good. Voltemada is good at a number of things, but he's very good at closing down from the front. And then Newcastle would then back up to win any balls, play into the middle, and they went man for man at the back, which was really effective as well. And you can see the chemistry starting to build between those Newcastle attackers with Voltemada in there. Now, the third goal was the best example of this. Newcastle kind of win the ball high up, and then it's a quick interchange between Gordon, Barnes, and Voltemada, and then Barnes finishes it off. So,
what did Voltemada do in that link-up play, Graham? What did he do?
He had a nice little back heel, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He loves a back heel.
We need to insure those heels for like $1 million each, I think.
Just $1 million. I mean, they paid $69 million for him, so proportionally, the heels are probably worth more than $1 million. But yes, Newcastle were very good in this game, and now have a bit of a platform to build on in the phasing, as we're calling it.
Yes, we are, because that's what it is, Graham. And Napoli are not doing too well, certainly not this week. PSV beat them 6-2. A comeback win for PSV after Scott McTominay opened the scoring for the Italian reigning champions. Riccardo Pepi among the goal scorers for PSV in this one as well. Napoli a little bit all over the place. Antonio Conte's Champions League record remaining consistent in this game, shall we say? Oh boy.
That's one way to frame it, yeah.
Yeah. It is, indeed.
Consistently bad.
Yeah. Well, and the Italian team who did do well on the road was Inter. They got a 4-0 win at Union Saint-Gilloise. They continued their perfect start. Did Inter, in fact, in this one, making amends, obviously, for last season's final. Manchester City with the 2-0 win at Villarreal as well on Tuesday. Guess who scored? Erling Haaland, of course, for the 12th consecutive game.
Erling Haaland.
Yep, that's it. You got it. Well done.
Point.
No clues given there. And Captain Bernardo Silva got the other goal. They're now unbeaten in 9 games in all competitions. Karabag, was that the other early game you were watching on? No, that was the Wednesday early game, wasn't it?
That was the
Graham?
Wednesday early game. Yeah, it was one of the early games.
So they were leading Athletic Club in Bilbao from the first minute until the 40th, and then we had a Athletic Club coming back for the 3-1 win. But Karabag, were they good for it, Graham?
No, not really. I mean, no, Athletic Club were pretty dominant in this game. I mean, Karabag won their first two games, so when they're ahead away to Athletic Club, I'm thinking, man, what are we watching right now? But then we saw the course correction that inevitably was going to come at some point.
There we go. Galatasaray, it was a Victor Osimhen show with their 3-1 win over Bodo Glimt. Victor Osimhen with 2 goals, and he contributed to the third as well. Taylor.
Did anybody see the second one?
No.
Oh, maybe the worst error I've ever seen, and not including a goalkeeper failing to trap it, rolling out of their foot. I do not know what the Bodo Glimt midfielder was doing. I don't know what he saw, but he's dribbling inside, really feeling himself, and then he tries to play the back pass to the goalkeeper, and Victor Osimhen is standing in between them, and it goes straight to him. I think he baits it a little bit, Osimhen. I think he waits and then covers the ground to intercept. But either way, I mean, it would have been a very open pass if it were his own teammate playing him in, but it was the other team, and Osimhen gets a second there, and that really did kill off the game. So I think the opening goal was probably more effective in terms of how quickly it happened and that it kind of set the tone. But the second goal was probably the backbreaker for when your own teammate is sort of passing to the opposition. I think Bodo Glimt probably feeling like their days are numbered in the Champions League.
Yikes. Okay. Monaco with a 0-0 draw against Tottenham. Vicario playing out of his skin to keep Monaco at bay in this one.
Goodness.
Made 3 saves from Balogun alone in the first half. So Balogun obviously didn't get on the score sheet, but came very close in that one. Atalanta with a 0-0 win over Slavia Prague. Atalanta wasting several goal-scoring chances in this one. Slavia had lost 9 of their previous 10 matches against Italian sides. That is vintage Ivan Juric management there, I would suggest. Oh, Chelsea with the 5-1 win over Ajax. Red card early on for Ajax for a pretty nasty challenge. Chelsea opening and scoring shortly after that one, Graham. Then loads of goals happened for Chelsea. Lots of teenage goals, in fact, for Chelsea.
Yeah.
The first Champions League team in history to have 3 teenage scorers.
And those 3 scorers were Estevao, Tyreek George, and Gui? We
Yep.
still don't know how to pronounce
Oh,
that.
he's
Is
back.
that how you say that?
Yeah.
He's back, from Sunderland. I don't think he played a single game in his loans. That sounds more appropriate.
No, it's gooey.
But Gui. Oh, Ed de Gui, the former Chelsea goalkeeper. We've had one before.
Ed De Hoy, wasn't it?
No, I was 10, Ryan. I pronounced that de Gui.
Did you all see the VAR check for the Kenneth Taylor red card?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
That was I think that's the fastest VAR check I've ever seen. It's like
he didn't even
comically
look at the
short.
video.
No, it was a freeze frame. He walked up, he got near enough to it was like, that's a red. It was just
It was a shocker.
Yeah, it was immediately a red card and a justified one at that.
Yeah. And that completely warped the game. And look, Ajax are a bit of a mess at the moment anyway, so I don't know if we were ever going to get a truly competitive game here. But from the red card on, Chelsea were in complete control of this game. They could rest some of their players as well, or their best players in the second half. So I think Fernandes and Caicedo come off fairly early to give them a bit of a rest. And I thought Estevao was brilliant in this game. He continues to get better and better. I knew he would be good. There was enough hype to know that he was the real deal. I don't know if I thought he would be this good this soon, where it feels like he is a real key player for Chelsea at the moment. He's just so good on the dribble, and he had so many shots in this game as well. The third most of any player in a Champions League match this season, and he took his penalty incredibly well too. So yeah, he's a serious talent.
Yeah, and the consolation from Ajax, Val Weghorst, former Man United legend, remember him, good times.
Well, not
Wonderful.
much of a consolation for him, who then who gave away a penalty later in the game and got kicked in the head pretty seriously as well. So
Classic
mixed bag.
Weghorst. Yeah, indeed. There we go. Bayern Munich with the 4-0 win over Club Brugge. Harry Kane with his 20th goal in only his 12th game of the season. But the highlight goal, Joe, teenage sensation Leonard Cole, aged 17 years and 242 days. A banger of an opener for the teenager there, Joe.
Is he still 242 days, or would he be 243 days today? I don't know.
Darn it, you're right.
We gotta be precise about this stuff. If we have hours
Tomorrow,
too, that would be great.
Yeah, it'd be a different number tomorrow. So
Okay,
cool.
it'll be a bigger number tomorrow. Leonard Carl is legit. That is the summary, the top line summary of this. He was awesome in this game. Bayern Munich were completely dominant over Brugge. Brugge had nothing in this game. 4-0 was extremely fair in terms of a scoreline. Let me run through what you need to know about Leonard Carl. He is 17 years old in some number of days. He's left-footed. He's 5'6", so he's tiny. I mean, maybe he's still going to grow. I don't know. That wouldn't shock me. He wears number 42, which is Jamal Musiala's old number, which I think should tell you a little something. He debuted in the Club World Cup back in June. In September, he became Bayern's second youngest Bundesliga starter ever. Now he has become Bayern's youngest Champions League goal scorer ever. This dude is so much fun to watch, and he is so good. He was playing in the right half space in this game for Bayern, and his ability to cut inside on that left foot, his quick touches with the ball at his feet to glide past opposing defenders. There is so much to like about this game. He can pick out a pass as well. Yeah, he is amazing. Clearly one of the best teenagers on the planet. This was the first time that I'd watched him in detail, and I think I could do another 6 minutes on him alone. Like, he is the truth.
I always love when you watch like a youngster come through of that level, but there's something about the fact that he is German and they already have Florian Wirtz and Jamal Musiala that makes me go, oh, go away. That's just not fair. Can we have one? Can we spread these out a little bit? Can we just have one of these guys? Thanks.
It's how I feel about Leonard Carl. I don't think I felt like this about a player outside of like the Barca youngsters. You know, like I don't feel this very often, and I'm feeling something when I watch Leonard Carl, and that makes me really, really happy.
Is he the most Simpsons player in the game at the moment as well? Can you say so much like Lenny and Carl?
Yeah, you're onto something there.
Could be. Could be. If it doesn't work out, that Bayern, the power plant is awaiting Leonard Carl.
Yeah, I mean, until Homer Smithers breaks through in the Chelsea Academy.
Excellent stuff. Very good. One more game to mention. Sporting's 2-1 win over Marseille. I've got nothing to say about it. They had a win over Marseille. So congratulations to Sporting. That is the full slate of Champions League Round 3 phasing matches. 5 teams on maximum points. That's PSG, Bayern, Inter, Arsenal and Real Madrid. Only 2 teams without a point at the moment. Benfica and Ajax. The plot thickens, Joe.
If I gave you guys the field and I took the unbeaten, the perfect team so far. So if I took PSG, Bayern, Inter, Arsenal, and Real Madrid, would you guys give me those 5 and you would take the field? Or do you feel confident that the winner is going to come from the top 5 that are perfect so far? Taylor.
I think the perfect teams have me thinking that maybe they are like superior and have.
So you
a lot of
don't want
ability.
City or Barcelona or Liverpool or Chelsea.
Correct.
Okay, Graham.
Yeah, I think the winner's coming from the perfect teams, just because I think Bayern, Arsenal, and PSG look like maybe a level above everyone else this season. But Liverpool and Barca are in the field. You know, that tempts me. But
Ryan, do you dare to be bold, or are you a sheep like the rest of us?
I am enslaven to bloop bloop bleep bloop, who says
There
that
it is.
Arsenal.
You know, Joe, you don't have to take the perfect teams. You are welcome to abandon them, and we'll take them, and you can take the field.
I was the one who asked the question.
Or are
That's
you
all
a
I was
sheep,
asking.
sir? All right.
How do I say this? There we go.
There you go.
There we go. There we go. Well, time will tell in this competition, but for now, that is your Champions League roundup. Listener, thank you for joining us on this one. Taylor Rockwell, thank you very much for your time, good sir.
I'm still thinking of Simpsons names. There was probably a Brazilian midfielder named Quimby at some point, right?
I would hope so.
Or Mayor Quimby. We could make it Spanish
that.
and go that route. Yeah, perfect.
Excellent. Homer Smithers is going to take some beating. Graham Russell, thank you very much.
thank you, Ryan Bailey.
And Joe Lowry, pleasure as always, sir.
Thanks, Ryan.
Listener, thank you very much for joining us on this one. We'll be back on the feed very shortly indeed. But for now, bye!